My beloved child, before you scroll away, pause for just a moment, because the message you are hearing right now may touch a place inside your heart that you have tried to understand for a very long time. There is a reason this title found its way to you, and there is a reason you felt something when you saw the words, "Your soulmate is already married." Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the truth may not be what you expected. Perhaps you have wondered why a certain person keeps appearing in your thoughts even when you are trying to move forward. Perhaps you have experienced a connection that felt strangely familiar, almost as though your heart recognized someone before your mind could explain why. You may have met someone whose presence changed the atmosphere around you, someone whose eyes seemed to say more than their words ever could, someone who entered your life unexpectedly and left behind a question you could never completely answer. And perhaps the most confusing part is that this person already has a life of their own. They may already be married. They may already have responsibilities, commitments, memories, and a world that existed before you ever crossed paths. That realization can feel like a door suddenly closing in front of you. But what if the real story is not simply about getting someone who belongs to another chapter? What if this moment is actually about understanding why this connection appeared? What it awakened inside you, and what truth you have been avoiding? Do not skip, because the first revelation is this. Sometimes the person who awakens your deepest emotions is not necessarily the person who is meant to remain beside you forever. Sometimes they arrive to reveal something about you that you had forgotten. Sometimes a connection becomes powerful not because it is destined to become a relationship, but because it exposes a part of your heart that has been silent for years. And sometimes the greatest shock is realizing that what you called your soulmate may have been a sign pointing toward a completely different future. Stay till the end, because there is a reason this story feels unfinished. There is a reason your heart may still be waiting for an answer. And there is a reason you should not make a decision based only on emotion. Something huge is waiting for you, but you must listen carefully, because the truth may arrive quietly before it arrives dramatically. There was a moment when this connection probably felt almost impossible to explain. Maybe it began with a simple conversation, a chance meeting, a brief look, or a situation that seemed completely ordinary at first. Nothing about that first moment announced that it would become important. Yet somehow, afterward, something changed. You began remembering small details that you normally would have forgotten. A sentence stayed in your mind. A smile returned to your thoughts. A certain place suddenly carried a different meaning. You might have started noticing how often your mind returned to this person without permission. And that is where the confusion began. You were not necessarily searching for them, but your thoughts kept finding them. You could be busy during the day and suddenly remember something they said. You could be surrounded by other people and still feel the absence of one particular person. You could tell yourself that it meant nothing, yet your heart would quietly disagree. Do not skip. Stay till the end, because there is a deeper layer here. When emotions become intense, the mind naturally searches for a story that explains them. We call it destiny. We call it a soulmate connection. We call it a once-in-a-lifetime bond. Sometimes those descriptions are meaningful, but sometimes they can also make us overlook reality. The fact that a connection feels extraordinary does not automatically mean that we are supposed to possess it. A powerful feeling is real, but the conclusion we attach to that feeling may not always be correct. That distinction matters more than you realize. If this person is married, their existing commitment is part of the truth. Their life is not an empty page waiting for you to write the next chapter. Their choices, responsibilities, and boundaries matter. And your dignity matters too. You do not need to compete with another person. Prove that your connection is stronger, or chase a situation that requires someone else to lose in order for you to win. The real revelation may be far more beautiful than that. What if this connection appeared to teach you that your heart is capable of feeling deeply again? What if you had become emotionally guarded without realizing it? What if this person did not come to become your destination, but to become the mirror that showed you what you truly desire in a future relationship? Perhaps you discovered that you want honesty. Perhaps you discovered that you want emotional depth. Perhaps you realized that you want someone who listens carefully, notices the small things, and makes you feel seen. Those discoveries are valuable. They belong to you, even if the person who triggered them cannot belong to your future. Now listen carefully, because this is where the story begins to turn. You may have been asking, if this person is really my soulmate, why are they already married? That question sounds simple, but hidden inside it is another question. Why would life allow me to feel something so strong for someone I cannot freely have? The answer may not be that the universe made a mistake. It may be that you are measuring the purpose of a connection only by whether it becomes a relationship. But not every meaningful connection is designed to become a partnership. Some connections arrive as turning points. Some arrive to challenge your beliefs. Some arrive to help you close an emotional chapter. Some arrive to teach you patience, boundaries, self-respect, forgiveness, or courage. And some arrive at exactly the moment when you are ready to discover that you have been waiting for someone else to validate a part of yourself that you should have already embraced. Something huge is waiting for you, so do not skip now. Think about the possibility that this person became powerful in your imagination because they represented something larger than themselves. Maybe they represented the kind of love you secretly wanted. Maybe they represented excitement after a long period of emotional emptiness. Maybe they represented the possibility of being understood after feeling misunderstood for years. Maybe their attention made you feel valuable at a time when you had forgotten your own value. That does not make your feelings foolish. It makes them human. But there is a difference between honoring your feelings and allowing your feelings to control your choices. You can acknowledge that someone matters to you without crossing boundaries. You can admit that a connection affected you without building your entire future around it. You can carry the lesson without carrying the attachment. And this is one of the strongest truths you will hear today. Sometimes the person who feels like the missing piece is actually the person who reveals that you were never incomplete. Stay till the end, because later we will uncover why this situation may have appeared in your life at this exact season and why the answer may have less to do with the married person and much more to do with the person you are becoming. Perhaps there is another detail you have noticed, something that made the connection feel even more mysterious. Maybe they seem to understand you without needing a long explanation. Maybe conversations with them felt unusually natural. Maybe you felt calm around them, or perhaps you felt nervous in a way you could not explain. Maybe they remembered something you had casually mentioned weeks earlier. Maybe they looked at you for a second longer than expected. Maybe there were moments when you wondered whether they felt the same thing. And those moments can become dangerous to your peace, not because feelings themselves are wrong, but because uncertainty creates endless possibilities inside the mind. One small gesture becomes a message. One kind word becomes evidence. One coincidence becomes a sign. Suddenly, you are no longer living only in reality, you are living inside interpretations. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and this is one of the most important moments of the entire message. Never build a life-changing decision on an assumption. If someone has clearly chosen their marriage, respect that choice. If they have not communicated romantic intentions, do not create an entire future from silence. If their behavior is ambiguous, let their actions over time speak louder than your hopes. Real love does not require you to constantly decode someone. Real love does not keep you trapped in confusion. Real love does not demand that you abandon your values just to prove how strong your feelings are. The connection you deserve in the future will not need to hide behind endless uncertainty. It will not require you to wonder whether you are secretly competing for a place in someone's life. It will be clear, mutual, respectful, and available. That is why this story may be preparing you for something you cannot see yet. You may believe you are losing your soulmate, when in reality you are being redirected toward a healthier understanding of love. You may believe the door is closing, when perhaps the door was never yours to enter. And you may one day look back at this exact period and realize that the person you thought you could never live without was actually the person who taught you how to stop abandoning yourself for the possibility of being chosen. Here is the part nobody tells you when they talk about soulmates. Your soulmate, if you use that word to describe a